coming to you guys. How are you doing? I'm living currently in Poland and the situation here is difficult as well, but let's not talk about it in every post on any social media platform. There is no point of doing that. Let's not freak out, let's not stress out, let's do what we can. But yes, you can laugh, it's okay to laugh, it doesn't mean you ignore the problems of this world. And you may ride a bike if it's allowed in your country. Now in Poland we can be riding in pairs, so if you're two riders you can still go outside and do some rides. We cannot do group rides, but we can still train. We have indoor trainers, we have the technology, so we are fine and we will be fine. And here is what I bought. I bought a new bike, which is Scott Vantage 2.0 from 1995, and I want to tell you about 4 things that have been improved over the years. So the last 25 years of technology, I would even say rather experimenting, because we didn't really need that much technology in order to do these changes, and in the next episode I will tell you what hasn't been changed, which is a bummer as well. This is Scott Vantage 2.0. It's funny because actually it turns into vintage now. 25 years, new bike, Shimano LX. Don't look at that derailleur, because the guy who sold me the bike, he, without telling me, he replaced the original LX, retro vintage LX, with the XT because he wanted to just bring up the value of the bike for me, thinking I'll be happy. Well, I'm not happy. I wanted to have the original part, so I need to get that LX derailleur. But this is the MTB, I wanted to say hardtail. This is mountain bike for cross-country, alloy frame, steel fork, 26-inch wheels. And I know what you want to say. You want to say that we've got now 29-inch wheels, we've got suspension, everything. Well, these are not the main changes, because I had been racing from 1993, so 1995 I was well into mountain biking, and I still don't think that, at least in cross country, switching from 26 to 29 on very hilly and hard terrain is an improvement. That's what I think. But anyway, shortly, 4 things that have been improved. And I'm gonna start with something that I really think was stupid in 1990s, which means narrow 195 tires plus narrow rims plus very high air pressure plus inner tubes. We needed to have that very high pressure because it was super easy to get flat, pinch flat with the inner tube on such a tiny, narrow tire. So that meant that we had no grip, we had no additional suspension, we were slower, we had higher rolling resistance on these tires. So this was just stupid. It was really stupid. Now when I remember coming into same corners with the tubeless tires, low pressure, extremely low comparing to what we had in these tires, is so much more fun, it's faster, it's safer, you have so much better traction. So this is what changed, the tubeless tires. Did we need a lot of technology for that? Well, tubeless tires came into to our cars many years ago. Of course, it's different with these tires, with the bicycle tires, because they need to be supple, they need to hold on to the rim, so it's a different story. So the tires, the casing has changed, absolutely has changed, but the tubeless tires, this has been an amazing improvement, number 1. Number 2, the brakes. In my mountain biker life, we've switched from cantilevers through V-brakes to the disc brakes. The disc brakes are the best ones, but I feel that the biggest leap was from cantilever to V-brakes, because V-brakes could be as powerful as the disc brakes. The disc brakes have their pros and cons. I have an idea of yet another system for braking, and maybe in the future I will produce that one. We'll see. But yes, cantilever versus disc brakes, huge difference. Disc brakes, safer, better modulation, and of course both cantilever and the V-brake brakes were wearing off the rim, not only the pads but also the rim. On the disc brakes we have the discs that are being weared off, and it's just easy to replace those, and you keep your precious super light alloy or even carbon rims. So disc brakes, number 2. Number 3, the crankset and the bottom bracket. Having so many parts on these square tapered systems meant that it will be heavy and also less stiff. The stiffness is the issue, the biggest issue in my opinion here. So on this system here we have the right crank arm, the left crank arm, and we have the axle, the spindle, which is the part of the bottom bracket. On our current bikes we have the spindle integrated to either right or left, usually right crank arm, which means the spindle and the crank arm is one piece. The spindle also is hollow, unlike this one here. It's oversized, which means better stiffness and much less weight. It is great. The current bottom brackets haven't been improved in terms of how reliable they are. Some are much less reliable than these systems. Yes, this is true. But I would say these are pretty good. Most of the bottom brackets I had were pretty good, so thousands of miles were okay if you just maintain your bike, clean it, know how to do it. So this system that we have currently is much better, much lighter, much stiffer. You don't have this annoying twitchy crank arm, or if you have the front derailleur, you don't see now that the chain would wrap against the cage of the front derailleur. So that's something. Number 4, the drivetrain. And maybe you probably will think that I will mention 1x12 drivetrains. No, but I will mention one thing which has changed, and we didn't need any super technology for that, which is the spring of the rear derailleur, not even the clutch. There was some philosophy, there was no like practice behind it, that the rear derailleur in those years had to have really soft spring in order to allow for better shifting, because when it's too stiff, the shifting would be too stiff. The result of that was that the chain would just hit the frame at any time, and also the rear derailleur would hit the frame. So that was just wrong. Now even some Shadow, the non-plus, just the first Shadow Shimano rear derailleurs, which don't have the clutch but have just stiffer, stronger spring, this one here, and probably the one for shifting as well, they just made up for better drivetrains, because the chain is more stable. And I remember my best performance ever when I was a junior, it was the Polish Nationals. I almost had the podium, but I didn't finish because my chain just like wrinkled. I was unable to put it into order during the race. It was still like 2 laps to go, 1 or 2 laps to go, and I was super close to the podium, and I was faster, much faster. Did not finish. So really today's drivetrain do much better, like narrow wide, training at the front, the clutch system at the rear, better. Of course, as I told you, the 1x drivetrains have their pros and cons. The biggest disadvantage in my opinion is the resistance that it makes on the lowest gear. And I would love if somebody could having front power meter and rear hub power meter compare how much power we lose on different sprockets on the rear cassette, on the Eagle or Shimano 12-speed cassette. I'm really curious to see that, because I'm pretty sure on the second gear we lose quite a bit. That's my opinion. So these are the 4 things. Just the spring on the rear derailleur, easier, hollow, integrated bottom bracket, and the crankset, stiffer, lighter, just better. The brakes, we've got the disc brakes now, and the tubeless tires. Next episode will be about what hasn't been changed. So maybe you could mention something in the comments. We'll see if I will cover same topic as you will mention. Thanks for watching and take care, guys. Live healthy. See ya.